Thank you so much. And you know what? Talk about the power of healing. Do you know who was singing those two lovely songs that we sing around meditation? Good timing, Bill. Standing up. Bill is singing Yeah, we need to change the melody. But no, I was so pleased to hear you singing. That is beautiful. Also, I know you got slips in your bulletin. We've got to say something about those, and it came to me during meditation. Don't ask me why. But if you circle that and put your names on it, and circle whatever you're interested in, and put them in the bowls when you leave, that would be great. All right. So, my message today is, what can we do? And February is really a funny month, isn't it? I mean, we have 28 days, and then, of course, every 4 years we get an extra day, don't we? And unfortunately, this year is not the day that we get the extra day. However, next year is leap year, and we do get an extra day on February 29th. So it's kind of something to look forward to. And why do I bring this up, you might ask? Well, my question is, there we go, there's the 29th, and what can we do with this extra day in our lives? Have you ever thought about that? Most people just let the 29th come and think of it as just another day, but if you think of it as kind of like a gift, that you get this extra day every 4 years, I mean, that's powerful. And better yet, what can we do with every day of our lives? Have you thought about that? Because it's not only about that extra day every 4 years, it's also about what we can do with each and every day right here and now. And what better time to think about it than right here now, this time of Lent, this Lenten season, when we try to figure out what we can do and what we're supposed to be as a spiritual being. So today we're going to ponder the questions that I've just posed, and we'll try to discover how to make the most out of every day. But let's affirm our statements of truth together first, please. I am a child of God. I am deserving of living my life. I am accepting my good now. So if you were here a few weeks ago when I spoke, you might have been here when I got choked up and I was coughing, my eyes were watering, and I was going through this whole process, and it felt like my throat was closing up. And the thing is, I just really, in the middle of that, just really wanted to stop and cry, because it was more than just the coughing and the choking up. There was something going on within me that just felt so powerful. And I think that it was the Spirit of God moving in and through me to bring me a deeper message. But at the time, I was just focused on bringing the message, so I just took another breath and went on. But sometimes I think we feel so emotional that we physically feel it. You know? And sometimes we feel so emotional from the push in our spiritual growth that it is so powerful that our bodies experience this power. And sometimes it doesn't feel healthy, does it? No. For example, there are times that you'll hear something and it'll just kind of make you sick. And then later you think about it and think, oh, why did I feel that about that? That's not so weird. But another thing that we hope, at least from this service, is that when you come here on Sundays, that whether it's the music or the meditation or the message, that you get this spiritual high from being here, that you feel it in your body, and it carries you through the week and brings you through to the next Sunday where you can get another high, so to speak. But that is like the feeling of good, the feeling of power. But the bottom line is that when a truth is spoken or comes forth, it can affect us. It can totally affect us. And the Sunday I got choked up, I realized during the peace song, it was after we did everything else and I got to the peace song, that I started thinking about this coughing and choking and everything, and the physical processing which my soul was spiritually processing. And it came to me during that peace song that there was something to this. And we all experience this at different times. We do. We might not know it, but the issue is we might not know or realize it unless we are paying attention. We might think, oh, all of a sudden you're coughing. Oh, I must have caught that from so-and-so. Or, oh, I've got this pain in my side. I must have ate something wrong. And sometimes it's a message that's trying to come through for us that we're just not paying attention to. And I could have easily regarded, in fact I did, regard it all at first as allergies and the change of climates, because we had been in Kansas City and Savannah and then back here all within 2 weeks. And I just thought, oh, it's just the change of climate, what all the flowering stuff is going on and not going on. And I just kind of put it out there for that. But then I thought, no, there was much more to that reaction than just, allergies or sinuses. And I believe that in everyday things, we forget that we are one with God and that everything contains a message. Everything. Everything that we do each and every day contains a message. And if you were here, you might remember this quote from Luke 11:24-26, and I've got it up here again for us to review. But when the unclean spirit has gone out of a person, it wanders through waterless regions looking for a resting place, but not finding any, it says, I will return to my house from which I came. And when it comes, it finds it swept and put in order. Then it goes and brings 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they enter and live there. And the last state of that person is worse than the first. And we talked about how this is what happens to us when we think we've gotten over something, and it keeps coming back and bugging us over and over again. Oh, I've done my prayer work around that. I've done this, and now it's coming back, and now it's even worse than the time before. And we've all had those experiences. But Dr. Barber came up to me after the service, and we discussed this quote a bit, and we even talked about it in the dream workshop too, but it was really powerful when I spoke with Dr. Barber about it, because she was getting something from the message, and I was getting something from that Bible quote, and I said, yeah, I don't feel like I'm done with it. And sometimes we're not done with it. Sometimes something comes along and we're not done with it. We still need to go back and explore it. So as I was coughing and choking and my eyes watered, I felt like that unclean spirit was trying to come back in with 7 of its friends, And that's what it was feeling like in the middle of that. And the truth had moved through me, and I was speaking from the Spirit of God, I felt like, but I felt like a part of me was not totally embracing the truth that I was speaking. Anybody ever have that happen? Like you know it, but you're not living it maybe, or something is there blocking that from really, truly being in your life all the time? Well, Fillmore calls this characterization, a condition in the mind that is brought about by the conflict that takes place when a high spiritual realization contacts an old error state of consciousness. So during that time that was happening to me, it was obvious that there was some embedded negative thinking going on within my body that was not allowing me to totally grasp that truth that I was speaking. You see that? And do you see how that could happen? And I wasn't able to purge that negative thinking out of my body and live from those words that I was speaking. And I didn't truly let go of the unclean spirit. But I'll tell you, I want the unclean spirit gone, and I want it to go back to that waterless region where it can die, because waterless region, nobody can survive without water, can they? No. So we want it to go away and never come back. You see, I want to be able to stand in love and know beyond knowing that I am living the way God intended us to live. Don't you all want to do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
And why is this so important for us to process? Why is it so important for us to realize all this? Well, we have to be able to listen, not only to our mind and our soul, but to our bodies too. We have to listen to the whole package. And Jesus said, I love this, and I love this cartoon I found from Bible Gateway. There's little numbers on each one of its hairs. Jesus said, but even the very hairs of your head are numbered. Fear not, therefore, ye are more valuable than many sparrows. From Luke 12:7. Isn't that funny? I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, we need to listen because it's important, isn't it? Every single hair on our head is important, let alone the rest of us. And the omnipresence and the omniscience of God has every hair on our heads numbered. Think about that. And knows beyond knowing. we all matter. Every single hair on our head matters, and some of us have less than others. But from here in Georgia, all around the world, we are relevant to each other is what it's saying. We are relevant to each other. God made us relevant. Not only to ourselves and to our family and to our friends and everything. No, God made us relevant to everyone around the world. And Reverend Warren spoke on this a little bit last week. But God has given us the gift of life. And God allows us to heal and to feel and to know that when we are hurting and when we are well, doesn't He? Yes. Or she? And we always like to think it's just our human nature, don't we? We'll say, oh, yeah, my human nature is telling me that I need to take a Tylenol. What is nature? Everybody should know this answer before I click the screen. Yes, God. Nature is God. It's another name for God. And this is the omnipotence of God, the omnipotence. And in unity we say we are one with God, don't we? So where do we find within ourselves this oneness? Where do we find within ourselves this omnipotence? Can you claim it for yourself? Can you know it for yourself? Because that's powerful. And we can begin doing this too by affirming attributes about ourselves. If I ask you the sentence, to finish this sentence, and Reverend Warren's going to take a mic around for all of you to answer, whoever wants to choose to answer. No, not yet. Those don't go yet. But if you answer this statement, I am, what would you say? Anybody want to answer?
Delightful.
Delightful. Oh, Sandy's got one for you.
Blessed. I worked on this. I am such a joy, love, and creativity that miracles occur.
There you go. That's nice. You'd think I would have coached you on that one for this message today.
I am a child of God and a person of worth.
Very good.
I'm going to say one that I always sign my emails with. I am love, light, and tons of fun.
There you go.
I am forgiving.
Good.
I am totally creative.
Very good.
I am strong.
Good.
I am compassionate.
Yes. Anybody else?
I am vibration.
Mm,
I am vibration.
very good.
I am the divine manifestation of God.
Very good. And Bill had a good one up here too, but Giselle.
I am happy to be alive.
Yay.
I am love and light.
I am God's hands and feet on earth.
Very good. Bill had one more, right in front row, beside you.
I am a perfect expression of God.
There you go.
I am enough.
There you go.
I am good.
Yes.
I'm grateful.
Yes. Great, powerful messages and qualities. Oh,
I am authentic.
there you go. Yes. Russell, you got one?
I'm devastatingly good looking.
Those are perfect and those are powerful. And they're not just applicable to one person. And Fillmore gives us this story and talks on truth, and I love it. He says, over the entrance to the Greek temple was written, "Know thyself." And it is always written over every door that opens from ignorance to wisdom. Know thyself. Know who and what you are, where you came from, what you are doing here, and where you are going. If you want to know all of this, meditate upon the I am. And then he goes on to share this. Yet there is but one I am. It cannot be cut up into parts. It is principle. That which says I am in all men, women, and children is identical. Your I am is the Son of the God idea, and all the possibilities of the principle through that idea are open to you. To know thyself is to know that you are I am and not flesh and blood. Isn't that powerful? And don't get confused with the Son of God. He's not talking about Jesus. He's talking about the Son of God idea that each of us are. That expression of the Christ within. And the I am of you, and of you, and of you, and of everybody here is the same in each and every one of us. And all of those qualities that you just mentioned, those beautiful, beautiful qualities and concepts and ideas are expressed in each one of us. The beautiful good-lookingness of Russell is in each face here. You are that expression of God, and it is through that Christ within. The I am and the Christ are the similar saying coming through. And you might be thinking about someone in your life who you might not be able to claim that for. Well, I don't think that person's nice. I don't think that person's authentic. And you know, we go there sometimes, don't we? And I talked about this a little bit last time too on that message I brought, that how we can't say those kind of things or do those kind of things. And I like this a little example that Reverend Temple Hayes wrote in her new book, When Did You Die? And she talks about times in our life when we say things or do things that we die a little bit. And one of them is when we claim those kind of things for other people. But she had this example to do, and she said, and I'm going to have you use that little space in your bulletin that says write notes in there. But I would like for you to write down 3 examples in your life that might have been, and I've got just instructions here. Write down 3 examples in your life that might have been major changes in your life or when something dramatic or traumatic happened. And just use 1 or 2 words to describe it. There's pens in front of you too if you need it. I'm going to give you just a few seconds to write. No, there's a little spot in your bulletin. If you open it up, like in the middle column, it says, this space is for notes. Some people use it all, some people don't even know it's there, but that's okay. Okay, 3 times in your life. Now, I'm going to go on because I know you've got them in your head if you don't have them written down yet. I want you to think about this and ask yourself this question. Which time would you not want to relive? Which one of those times in your life would you not want to relive? And maybe you can easily circle one. Maybe you're looking at them going, nah. Or maybe you want them all gone from your life. Whatever it is, it's yours to know. But then you have to ask yourself this question. Whatever you've circled, whatever you've answered to those 3 things, you need to ask yourself, if you did not have them happen in your life, would you be the same as you are today? No. Yeah. It says, just like a rubber band, you must be stretched to be effective. I love that quote. And do you realize that to be true to yourself? Because I think most people are shaking their heads, they wouldn't be the same if those things wouldn't have happened, right? You wouldn't be the same today. So no matter what has happened in your life that wasn't the right thing, or not that perfect expression of God, or that you could not claim for somebody else, you know, you're saying, oh, that person's not living authentically, that person's not. Well, guess what? We've all been there, haven't we? We've all had times in our lives where we might not have wanted that to be, and yet it did happen. And then we move on. But if we cannot claim those I am statements for someone else, guess what? We cannot claim them for ourselves. It's impossible. Because in the vastness of the human race, with all the varieties of personalities, we all have within us that God essence that is magnificent, that is marvelous and grand, and it is all of ours coming forth through us to express as us. So what can we do? We have an opportunity next year to make a difference, to make a major impact. We have that one extra day that is leap year day. And we gain that day, and we can say right now, does anybody have anything planned for that day? No. So we don't have anything planned for it. It's a perfect opportunity to think ahead and say, what would I like to do that would make a major impact on my life and the lives of those around me on that day, February 29th. We have an extra 24 hours to reach within to that magnificent, marvelous, and grandness, to create and invent, observe, and to come together in community and be and do all that we need to do. Something spectacular can happen. And what if we looked at every day the same way? What if we take right here, right now, and say, what can I do today from that I am, from that marvelous, magnificent expression of God that I am? What can I do today that will impact everyone around me in a positive way? The kids are kind of doing that with the random acts of kindness, because it puts to the forefront of their mind, how can they serve others? But we're not always in that space, are we? We're not always listening to God speaking. We're not always in that mode to figure out what is ours to do. What can we do? Well, we can do whatever calls forth from the depths of our souls, because we are magnificent, marvelous human beings in a spiritual expression that is that perfect expression of God. So think about those three things you wrote down earlier. The things that were difficult for you at that time. But you made it through that, didn't you? And each and every one of you are a beautiful expression of God right here and now, no matter what has happened in your past. And you're sitting here together in the oneness of this sanctuary. And I invite you right now to look around at those around you and see the reflection of yourself. See all those qualities mirrored from you to them and them to you. So turn for a minute and look. You see that beautiful face up there in the sound booth? It's mirroring to all of us that we are that beautiful face in the sound booth too, aren't they? Yes. And it is ours to realize this. And it is in this realization that the question then becomes, once again, what can we do? And we're going to look at a story real quick here. And I know that we're running way over time, and you're going to have to live with it. But go ahead. We'll see you next week. No. Great singing today. No. But this is a story about Jesus and raising of Lazarus. And it's in John 11, 1 through 44. And I'm going to give you a little ad lib of the story, and then we're going to go to a certain part of the story. But this is a story about sisters, Martha and Mary, and their brother Lazarus. And he happened to be a good friend of Jesus. And you know, they kind of have stories around Mary and Jesus too, so you know how that all goes. But well, see, what happened was Lazarus died, and he had been put in the tomb for 4 days. And Jesus was in another town, and people were telling him he needed to go to Martha and Mary because they were all distraught about their brother dying. And Jesus had already knew that he was, they had labeled him dead, and he wasn't really too concerned, but he finally decided he needed to go to this other town and go to comfort Martha and Mary and resolve this issue. So, throughout this story, there's several layers and everything, but what happens is, we're going to fast forward to Martha taking Jesus to the tomb, okay? And here's the story. Then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay upon it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, "Lord, by this time there will be an odor, for he has been dead for 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you hear me always, but I have said this on account of the people standing by, that they may believe that you did send me." And when he had said this, he cried out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" The dead man came out. His hands and feet were bound with bandages and his face wrapped with a cloth. And Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." Well, Lazarus metaphysically means whom God helps. It refers to the part of the consciousness that is helped by the good though apparently neglected by the man himself. Well, we can have Lazarus experience every day of our lives. We can. And throughout our lives. My coughing and choking during that service was a Lazarus experience. You know, I thought I was dying at the moment. No, not really, but, you know, I was changing my thinking. I was raising Lazarus from the dead from my thinking that I was having during that time. I was trying to get rid of that unclean spirit. And one of your 3 examples that you wrote down, or all of them, were a Lazarus experience for you. If you look at it, did you feel during that time that that was happening to you? That perhaps you were near death? Or that you wish you could die? Or that you felt like you were in the worst time in your life? Yeah. And I know I've been there, and I know I've been in a place where I needed to raise my consciousness to the truth, to that I am truth, and know that all things are possible in every situation. And I've got something grand for you to help us with this. And it does have to do with Sandy's I am statement about being that miracle, being the miracle in your life that you want to see happen in the world. And I found this step-by-step as a metaphysical interpretation of this Lazarus story from Fillmore. And it's called 5 Action Steps to a Miracle. And Reverend Warren and Dr. Barr, we're going to hand them out to you. And it's a 5 steps. It's a little handout on this. I don't need one. And so we can go through it together. 5 action steps to a miracle. I love this. The first is denial. Take away the stone. You know, Jesus said, take away the stone. He didn't listen to the stuff that they were saying about, oh, the odor's going to be bad. He's been in there for 4 days. No, he just said, take away the stone. Take away any barrier. Remove any belief we may have that the miracle is impossible or any barriers we have in our minds, and be willing to make whatever changes are necessary to allow your miracle to happen. And you start with a denial. And this is a denial you can use every day of your life, no matter what you're confronted with. And it says, no one, let's say it together. No one and no thing, including myself, has the power to keep my miracle from happening for me. Do you feel the power in that statement? Yeah, it is. It's a simple statement, and yet it's powerful. And we use that denial. The second one is belief. Jesus lifted up his eyes. Think about that for a minute. Jesus lifted his vision. He lifted his consciousness. Okay? He could not see Lazarus as others did. We can't ask God to lower thinking to our level. We must raise our thinking to God's. This is to see as God sees. You know, when we pray over those prayer requests and we say, see as God sees, we're seeing the health, the wholeness, the prosperity, the perfect job. And we've seen it manifest in this congregation. We've seen it manifest beyond this congregation to our friends and family and people we know that is a cousin to so-and-so that you work with. And we've seen it happen because we saw as God saw. We must believe in our miracles, think of them as possible, and us as worthy for their fulfillment. We are those I am statements. We must believe in the power of the Christ within to do all things, and this belief needs to be with feeling as well as with the intellect. It's a combination of the whole thing. So let's affirm together. I believe in my miracle happening for me now. Third is thanks. Father, I thank thee that you have heard me. Thanksgiving was a part of daily life in Old Testament times. It is a testimony to our remembered blessings and faith in those to come. If you have the idea, you have the thing. And Jesus understood the importance of an idea that was invested with faith. Because an idea is invisible does not make it unavailable. That's a powerful statement right here. The movement from invisible to manifestation is merely the natural outworking of spiritual law. So if we get an idea or we have a thought and we automatically nay it, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that's not me. Oh, I can't. I'm an introvert. I can't stand up and say anything. Baloney. If you've got the idea, it's yours to express. Sorry. You know? Yeah. And it will all work out. Everything that. That's what this is saying. Hold on to that idea. See as God sees. Hold on. If you have the idea, that you have the thing. So whatever it is, maybe this is manifesting right now, whatever that negative thing is. But if you take a breath and move beyond that, like I did when I was choking and coughing, it all comes forth. The next message comes forth and lets you know, yeah, that's what you needed to do today. And that's what you needed to express. And that's who you needed to be. And that's what you can do. So let's affirm together. Thank you, God, for the perfect fulfillment of my miracle now. 4, decree. Jesus cried with a loud voice, and the cry could have been a whisper. The volume indicates the power of faith invested in the idea, the life we breathe into it. Speak the word with power and authority. Declare the truth about your miracle with unquestioned assurance. Remember that you can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you. Hello? Really, what seems impossible to man is possible to God. All things are possible. Know that your miracle is possible to God and is even now in your life. Let's affirm together. Affirm your personal miracle. And 5, release. Unbind him and let him go, Jesus said. Yes. Let go and release any concerns to God. You do not have to worry or dig up your seed to see if God knows how to accomplish your miracle. You know what they mean by that? Yeah. You plant the seed and it's not growing until you dig it up to see if it's doing anything. Don't we do that every day? Yes. Yeah, oh, God's going to take care of this for me, but I better go check on this to see if it's really happening in my life. Yeah. Leave yourself and your miracle in God's hand. When we get our hands off of it, God can do perfect work. Our miracles are not complete until we stop the cause of any problem which might inhibit the complete expression or cause us not to be able to keep our miracles. So get out of your way, your own way. Get out of your own way. And pay attention and listen if it is yours to do next. Because, sometimes we get in that place where we say, oh, I'm getting out of my own way. I'm going to sit back and be out of my own way. But, in your head it's going, no, you have to go walk down the aisle right now. No, I'm getting out of my own way. We do that, don't we? And then we convince ourselves that we are doing the right thing, even though the message is strong. And that's when some people in Unity used to say, you get hit with a 2x4, what is it? Cosmic 2x4, yeah, that old saying. But it is kind of like that. You start coughing or choking or your eyes start watering in the middle of the service. Yeah. So, let's affirm together. I release all concern and fear and let God bring forth my perfect miracle now. And these are 5 steps. Denial, belief, thanks, decree, and release are steps for each of us to follow. To create miracles in our lives. And not only in our lives, but in the lives of others. And some of you might think it sounds similar to the 5-step prayer process. But the thing that's different with this is they begin with a denial. The 5-step prayer process does not. And even though they're similar and their concepts kind of overlap a little bit, the idea of that denial first is so powerful. A lot of people get into Unity and they see the denials and they see the affirmations. They want to do the affirmations. Me, I did the same thing for years. Affirm, 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 because they feel so good, and it's just lovely. But then that unclean spirit comes back.